Hello and welcome back to the channel. Listen, y'all, there's some things that are happening in the world right now to where most of us, we're to the point now where we're saying, look, I can believe it. No longer can we sit and say, that's unbelievable, or I don't believe that didn't happen, or that's not happening. Most of us are getting to the point where when we see things that seem to be oddly strange, we say, yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. So I'm looking at an article where they're talking about there being a major victory for pedos. There is a baffling law that is passed that could make it to where those who are the victims of rape or sexual assault, they can be thrown in jail for telling their story. Oh my goodness. So, listen, this is the direction that the world is headed in. These are the things that are happening. To see such a headline is no longer mind-blowing. It's only mind-blowing because most people are like, listen, if someone is the victim of something like that, they should be able to tell their story. Most people think like that. But there is a growing number of people who think it's not a good idea for you to open up your mouth and talk about what has happened to you. So you can kind of see who's ruling and running things right now, because the things that they are guilty of, they're trying to softball the charges against things like that. So let's get into this, y'all. It says Victorian sexual assault survivors could be jailed for up to 4 months or face fines exceeding $3,000 for telling their stories using their real names. So imagine your name is Susie. You can't, what they're trying to say is that it's against the law for you to say, look, my name is Susie such and such, and this happened to me, and that person did it. Imagine getting a knock on your door saying that you've broken the rules, you violated a law, broken the law, and that you have to go to jail as a result of it because you used your name in telling your story about what happened to you when you were a victim. It says the Judicial Proceedings Reports Act was changed in February, prohibiting victims from identifying themselves publicly if their attacker has been found guilty. The new law applies retrospectively, meaning victims who have lawfully spoken out previously are now censored from speaking out publicly. Media outlets who defy the law can also be prosecuted and face fines of up to $8,000. So basically what they're saying is this: if you are the victim of a crime and you share your story, not only are you going to be jailed or fined, but the media outlet that helps you get your story out, they are going to be jailed and fined as well. Can we say reprobate? This is what we see happening right now. A lot of reprobate laws are being passed. People who are unscrupulous, scoundrels, no connection to righteousness or truth. If you want to victimize the victim again by telling them that if they tell their story, or if someone else helps them tell their story, that they are now a criminal that deserves to spend time in jail. It says the only way for victims to identify themselves and tell their stories is to obtain a court order. Now get this, y'all. Check this part out. The only way that you can do it legally is to obtain a court order. But here's the kicker. This court order is going to cost you more than $10,000 in legal fees just for them to even look at it and consider and telling you, oh, yes, go ahead and tell your story. So without the court order, you then become a criminal because you didn't get permission to tell your story. How dare you tell your story, use your name, and share it with other people without getting permission? That is punishable with jail time and possibly a monetary fine. It says Dr. Rachel Bergen, lecturer in the Swinburne Law School, described the change in the law as a major victory for convicted pedos and rapists. She said thousands of survivors will now find they cannot tell their stories. Not only can victims no longer use their real names, they cannot provide any identifying features such as photos in publications, such as memoirs and autobiographies, unless they get a court order. And that court order is going to cost them $10,000. Okay, here's a quote from one woman. There is no way that I would just have $10,000 sitting around to pay for this. I'd be taking money away from my family. This is what someone named Maggie says. She's an adult survivor of child rape. This is ridiculous, y'all. Utterly ridiculous. It says sexual assault survivors are now fighting for their rights to share their stories. My thing is this. Why should anyone have to fight for that right to tell their story or be charged $10,000 just to get your case heard in a court? Okay, so it says that they're fighting for their rights with the Let Us Speak campaign launched on Wednesday. The campaign, which is a collaboration between rape and sexual assault research and advocacy, End Rape on Campus Australia, and News.au, is calling on the government to reform the law. Melbourne mother Maggie, 44, was raped at age 8 by her father, who also sexually abused her older stepsister Kate. When Maggie was 17, he was arrested and charged with rape and gross indecency, as well as multiple counts of bestiality. Oh my goodness, after Kate reported her abuse to police. In May of 1997, 4 days before the trial was set to begin, he shot Kate dead at work after tracking her down using a private investigator. So this is ridiculous. Her abuser shot her down and killed her 4 days before the trial. She was victimized on so many levels. And now you have a law who wants to protect men like that by saying you can't talk about your story. Okay, it says he was sent to prison the following year after pleading guilty to murder in exchange for the sexual offense being dropped. So get this. He says, look, okay, I'll plead guilty to the murder as long as you drop the sexual offense charges. Wow. With his parole eligibility date looming, Maggie decided to come forward, resulting in her father receiving a 9-year jail sentence for multiple counts of incest and rape against her. However, in March this year, the Supreme Court of Appeals slashed his sentence for the crimes against Maggie and ruled he could serve them concurrently with his murder sentence, leaving him eligible for parole in June 2022. I'm sorry, in June 2022. Yes, I said that right. So in 2 years. the scumbag is eligible for parole. It says, I'm now a mother of 3 beautiful children, and I wouldn't want him out in any community. I'm not just scared for my children, I'm scared for all children. I also have to be the voice for my sister, too. She never got justice for the sexual abuse she experienced, either. Maggie contacted Australian media outlets to draw attention to the lenient sentence given to this pedo, only to learn a new law that makes it a crime for the media to publish her name or her father's name, as it could indirectly identify her. My sister was murdered for trying to tell her story, and now I'm stopped from telling mine. He has all of the power again. It has to change, Maggie said. So this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. It says similar gag laws were overturned in Northern Territories and Tasmania earlier this year as a result of Let Us Speak campaigns. So Let Us Speak needs to get out there and pound the pavement for these people, because for them to have such a ridiculous law in the books, I just can't even understand who thought that was a good idea. Who thought that was a good idea? Why should a woman ever be punished for telling her story of what some scoundrel did to her? Using her own name or the media outlet that helps her get her story out there, they're punished too. Jail time and money. Ridiculous. Okay, you all. I know this was a really disgusting story to even have to hear, but tell me what you think in the comment section. Of course, I know most of you think that this is a ridiculous law as well, but let's talk about it in the comment section. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and like. I would very much appreciate it. With that, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.